So let's look at the equitable distribution of pi. So we know the core team has 20% of the supply, and the rest of the 80% goes out to the community. We know that in the 80%, 20 billion is for the pre-mainnet mining rewards, 45 billion for mainnet, liquidity pool 5 billion, and 10 billion for the foundation. So no ICO. This is pretty cut and dry. You know, we've had this in the white paper, how it's not, Pi isn't running an ICO, and there's no crowdfunding. It's been iterated again by the core team. Fair launch. Again, this is pretty cut and dry. You know, anyone that can got a mobile phone can download the app, and as long as you've got a code, you can sign up. So let's take a look at the consensus mechanism. We all know that we're running the Stellar Consensus Protocol, and the Stellar Consensus Protocol uses a federated Byzantine agreement. Supply adjustment based on demand. Now, in the white paper, we've all seen this, you know, how we have a maximum total supply of 100 billion, right? But if you go down further into the white paper, you can see that in closed mainnet that they're allowed to do calibrations on the token model. And this token model is subject to tweaking before the open mainnet comes. And if you go down further, after the completion of the 100 billion distribution of pi, you know, there actually can be inflation, right? So we still, you know, even though this is a max supply, we actually do have a mechanism to have some form of inflation. It says here the inflation may be necessary, and this will be controlled under a decentralized way, you know, so this will probably be like a governance DAO. Right? How do we establish value then, you know? Well, the pi might be actually paired with Bitcoin. You know, we've seen that previously, and we know Bitcoin's always described as being digital gold, you know, so there's a possibility there. But however, we're going to be doing things like owning our own data and be your own bank, right? And this is where you're going to own your data and everything, and people are going to have to ask you permission, and you have to authorize those things to show your data. So there is a level of privacy. If we look at pibridge.org, right, they're not just bridging to Binance, right? They're bridging to Polygon, Avalanche, Ethereum, Cosmos, and Solana, right? So this isn't just Binance, this is a lot bigger than that. Now, I want you to take particular interest in Binance, Polygon, and Avalanche. But if we look at our ISO 20022 collaboration here, I've always included Pi Network in it, right? Now, as you can see, when we bring on pibridge.org, now we've got our connection into the ISO 20022 ecosystem. Under the Stellar blockchain, inbuilt into the blockchain, they have a peer-to-peer exchange, right? This is already known. We have Stellar X on their system. And so it's fair to say that under the Pi network, we also have peer-to-peer exchange inbuilt into the blockchain. We saw before that when we talked about the inflation, you know, that once we start doing any inflation decisions, you know, they're going to be talking about a decentralized DAO, you know, so, you know, that's in the works as well. So if you look at our list, we've done pretty well. You know, we've got 8 out of the 9 statements here.